The crate lifted into the air by a pair of men in matching jumpsuits. Its long, unforgiving journey across the earth have left its mark on the splintering and rotting wood. Set her down, nice and carefully. The director blubbered, his forehead sleek with thick beads of sweat. The two workers shared an annoyed glance, both harboring the same low opinion of the robust museum director in his two-piece suit. The contents of that crate are more valuable than the two of you combined, the director growled, his eyes flicking between the delivery men. The workers, slightly more cautious now, carried the crate through the large garage doors and placed it down gently. The director huffed and puffed with each inch it was lowered. Only once it was safely on the ground did he release his breath. The museum director eyed the medium-sized crate and wiped his forehead with a handkerchief. He couldn't read the foreign language inscribed on the crate, but hoped it meant extremely fragile, and nothing about the artifact inside. Now, please, open it, he breathed heavily. This crate had kept him on edge since the museum had somehow managed to procure such a rare item. A loud, suctioning noise released along with a blast of dust from inside the crate as a crowbar wrenched the top from the sides. The violent sound made the director suddenly jump back. "Why so skittish, Winston?" a voice echoed through the room, followed by the rhythmic tap of a cane on the concrete. "Oh, Dr. Trout, it's you!" Winston winced as the tall man emerged from the shadows of the large storage shelves. His gray-blue suit was almost black in the darkness, and his cold sea-green eyes reflected in the fluorescent lights. Trout twisted the hairs of his wiry black beard between his fingers. His other hand gripped an intricately crafted walking cane. Winston always thought the piece to be the most extravagant cane he'd ever seen. It was stained blue and polished to a shine. The handle resembled a fishhook with golden engravings forming a three-pronged image down the shaft. Winston had no idea why Dr. Trout needed the cane, as he walked perfectly well and stood a good foot taller than the museum director. Knowing Trout to be a rather mysterious and irritable man, Winston never pressed the issue and chalked it up to Trout's passion for myth. "I came to see if it had finally arrived," Dr. Trout said, tapping the edge of his cane against the crate. "Ah, well, here it is, boys, if you will." Winston gestured for the workers to remove the lid. Dr. Trout held up his hand. "There's no need for that. Your service is no longer required," he said unkindly. The workers didn't need to be told twice. The garage door closed so quickly behind them that Winston almost lost his toe. "Trout, I don't see the point in all this secrecy." Winston shook his head in disgust as he looked at the rotting wood of the crate. "Look at the state of that shipping crate. We've been fleeced." "That only proves you don't comprehend what I've acquired," Dr. Trout replied, annoyed. He lifted the top board with the edge of his cane and let it fall to the ground with a loud bang. The crate was filled with loose brown straw, and a single black leather wristlet with a blue gem sat at its center. "One?" Winston asked. "You dragged me through endless bureaucracy for this, and it's not even a set." Winston shook his head. "Relax," Trout commanded as he picked up the wristlet and slid it onto his hand. He paused, staring deeply into the gems, as if waiting for something to happen. "Adding to your jewelry collection, I see," Winston scoffed, wiping a new layer of sweat off his brow. Trout seemed to forget Winston was present. "I hope it's worth more than the museum's yearly revenue, because that's what it cost." Winston broke the silence. Trout placed the wristlet back into the crate, suddenly more disappointed than the museum's stingy director. "The other was destroyed long ago. This one is priceless," he said sternly. "This was the last item for the exhibit. It will be ready by next week." Dr. Trout turned his attention to 6 similarly aged crates locked behind a metal gate on the other side of the room. Winston grumbled something inaudible before speaking clearly. "Next week, then, we'll open the exhibit. Hopefully before this place goes under." Trout lifted the crate under his arm with ease and began to move toward the metal cage, each tap of his cane sending shocks down Winston's spine. Trout set the newest crate against the back wall and relocked the cage. He looked at the wristlet through the gaps between the bars. Winston muttered something about ticket prices and a line across the block before walking out of the storage area and back into the main museum. Trout stood at the gate, looking at the blue gem for a moment longer before turning back toward the museum floor. Eventually, the automatic lights flicked off, and in the pitch black, the cage flickered with a blue light like lightning in the night sky. The gem pulsed, casting an ethereal glow, dormant power within preparing to be awakened.